Hi, my name is Anne Cooper and I'm a coffee roasting consultant with more than 24 years experience in the coffee industry. I'm here today to conduct a Q&A session with all of the wonderful roasters in Perth at Carbon Coffee. I'm really excited about the opportunity to pass on my experience and skills with other roasters here in Perth. I hope you enjoy today's Q&A. Sorry, there was, yes.
Just on that, like on our ProBat, we found kind of the reverse to that.
Yep.
So we found that a longer idling time,
yep.
but a hotter starting gas setting,
yes,
actually ends up being kind of cleaner.
Yes.
So even when we try soaking,
yep.
even if it's just for a very short amount of time,
yep.
it just adds heat to the roasted flavour.
This is the new P series. Yeah.
It's the first gen of the P series.
Okay. Yep.
It is double warm.
Yep.
We do manipulate airflow throughout the roast as well.
Okay.
But yeah, we find that pretty much the
soaking doesn't work for you guys. Yeah, cool. Yep. As long as, you found a way to work through that and you're happy with the results, then yeah, absolutely. But definitely when you start getting into the old guys, the UGs and stuff like that, they will pay you back big time if you're not careful with those, yeah, for sure. But, because I did hear that, or have seen the P series, they can be quite hot. Yeah, very hot. So, yeah.
We try and be really strict with our idling level time.
Yeah, awesome. Yep, perfect.
And that really helps as well.
Yep, yeah, good. It's so important. It's so important. Yep, good. Awesome.
Just on that soaking, I guess, a little bit related to idling and turnaround, being turnaround.
Yep.
Without giving too much away, do you have an ideal where you'd like to see things turn around?
Yeah, so look, generally, and even on, again, this is going to depend on your probe. So if you have, who's got the 3 mil probe in here? Yep, yep. And then who's got then slightly thicker? Is it 6 mil or 5 mil? Is the next one up?
5.
Yep. So you're going to see a pretty significant difference between the lag in a 3 mil and then obviously your 6 mil. So on a, sorry, if you've got, so you're not quite sure what size your probe is?
It's bigger than 3 mil.
Bigger than 3, yeah, cool. Yep. So generally, and that would make sense on the bigger roasters, like having that thicker probe. So there will be a slight lag in that reading. So you could very well see your turn happening closer to 2 minutes. Because the recommended turn generally for the thinner probes is between about 1:20 to 1:40. So that's a really nice range for that. But on a thicker probe, that's just the way it's going to read. It's genuinely going to lag just that little bit later. Yep. But if it starts getting to 2.5 minutes, you're definitely in trouble. Yep. Yeah, nice. Yeah, great. Perfect. Yep. And then kind of then onwards, then I start tracking then your checkpoints in terms of you've all probably got maybe some set degrees that you want to achieve in a certain time. You want to start seeing your colour change happening with a certain time. As far as degrees are going to be genuinely a little bit more specific to your systems as well and your probes. So 150 on the Gießen might be completely different to 150 on the Samiak and so on. So it's about the way your roasters are reading. Yep, yep.
We've got 2 different roasteries that use the exact same roaster and the temperature is different again still, so.
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
The challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So you're potentially trying to, I guess, exchange like data and information, and you're just kind of like scratching your head going.
Don't really look at the temperature so much, more so the cupping results.
Yeah.
How close they are together.
Yeah, and then what you can do is then based on the flavours that you're getting in your cupping is then go back to your profiles, because then you should be able to pinpoint where in the profile those flavours are coming from. And then even though you've got different roasters, what do you want again? You've got the Jopa. Same roasters, but just different probes and different read. Yeah, for sure. Then you could then at least make sure that you're getting to your key events or your checkpoints in a similar time. That would be the most important thing to focus on, with 2 different areas there trying to come together and achieve similar flavours. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, cool. So is it the same again? So 150 on your roaster is potentially a little bit different on yours in terms of, yeah, the way it's...
Ours one's hotter than theirs.
Okay. So you would have to drive it just slightly accordingly? Yep. Yep. Okay, great. Excellent. What else do you guys do as far as like, you know, you've got two teams trying to work together, so you do your QC. Do you have any advice for the other roasting teams in terms of...
Probably get together.
Yep.
So we're...
More often?
More often?
More often is definitely more beneficial than less.
So myself and Leanne, we're from Margaret River. These guys are from Swan Valley.
Yep.
There's actually 3 roasters there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there is actually 3 roasting teams. So we get together once a quarter. We create an agenda, and then we come up with we have our coffee beans, like our standard coffee that we offer to our customers, and we get together, we put them together and make sure they're cut and correct. Temperatures are always going to be different.
Yep,
than they
absolutely.
are.
Yep.
And just make sure that they're as close as possible as we can get,
Yep.
basically. And if something is pear shaped, we ask each other why.
And as far as like collecting like all your information, do you have like a central roast log that you communicate with each other?
We use Regus software.
Okay.
So we often will email the profile to each other.
Yep.
How relevant it is. We certainly look at it, but again, we're like 15 to 20 degrees out. all the
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
So, but we also have each other's coffees the same to make sure we're close to each other.
Mhm.
To make-
Do you do any other measurements besides cupping? No? Yep. Cool. Awesome. Yep.
I was just on your behalf, I was just thinking that the environmental factors could play a difference because Margaret River's a good 10
hugely.
degrees
Yeah,
cooler
absolutely.
all the time, you know. And I've
Mm.
found just from winter to summer, like my load temps and stuff have to change a lot just because our warehouse gets a lot hotter.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking
sure.
from Margaret River to
Mm.
Swan Valley would be
Yeah, absolutely.
significantly
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
And that's a really good point because like currently at the moment we're having this, you know, lovely heat wave. So how do you guys manage like storing your green? How do you guys manage, I guess, the general environment in your roasteries? Have you got anything? Yep. So air conditioners. Who's got AC? I guess in key. Yep. In the roastery itself.
Yeah, we keep our green air conditioned off-site.
Okay.
In
Yep.
our roastery.
Do you have a recommended temperature for the 22? Yep. And humidity? Oh, okay. Yep. All right. It might be slightly dry. Yeah, because generally like around 40% is pretty good for your humidity. But definitely agree with the 20, 22 degrees. That's great. Yep, absolutely. Who else is storing their green in a certain way? Any tips or thoughts? Yeah, actually, just hold that thought for a sec. Brad and I have been having a really good chat about just like green storage and some of the issues you face because some of the coffees are coming in Grain Pro, some of them aren't coming in Grain Pro still. There's still some green coming in just the jute sack. So the coffee is going to dry out a lot quicker. But also, one thing for you guys to keep an eye on is the vac seal bags. One thing I recently had the chance to better discover was there was a summit recently for Roasters Guild in the US, and they did a chat on water activity. So that is definitely kind of like the buzz thing at the moment for us to start getting to know a little bit better about. And so what they found is when a coffee is super fresh, when you saw a lot of these expensive coffees being put into the vac sealed bags, what they potentially didn't realise is that the water activity is so amazing on that beautiful fresh coffee is that once it's sealed in the vac bag, it can actually start going mouldy a lot quicker than what it's meant to. So I don't know if any of you have unfortunately been on the tail end of receiving some of that green and you're kind of, scratching your head going, I've just paid a gazillion dollars for this coffee and it's not what I expected it. It's not like the sample. And so, yeah, they're really realising that vac sealing is not the best for those coffees. So Grain Pro definitely is fantastic because it's helping to maintain some nice stability and freshness in the green. Some people have asked before about, I've seen roasters actually when their coffee arrives trying to then put it into like containers, like plastic tubs and stuff like that. If you have Grain Pro, definitely recommend keeping it in the Grain Pro.
Just going to say along that line, if you do buy an expensive coffee, can you actually request that it not be sent in the vac seal?
I think so. I think with like Cup of Excellence, I think these days you do have the option of having it packed in the vac seal or just in normal bags. Yeah, because obviously there's a cost, extra cost involved on top. But I think some of the like places like Santa Teresa and all those, like I think a few of the like central countries, when they first started bringing in amazing coffees, I don't think they quite realised what was happening, and they thought it was the best approach. But definitely they've started to see the effect that it's having on the green and the freshness is it's actually making it go mouldy and off in the vac seal. So just keep an eye on those vac seals. Yep. Sorry, just really quickly, I was going to grab your question. Yep.
Just on the green storage you're asking.
Yeah.
Look, I'm relatively low volume and
Yep.
I've got my green in the same space as my roaster.
Yep.
So quite a lot in the summer I'm roasting at night.
Yep.
To manage to keep the temperature cool and moist in the air conditioner. But I'm noticing that the floor temperature is fairly constant.
Mm-hmm.
So if I take the green off the pallet and stick it on the floor,
Yep.
then that helps to keep the green temperature fairly constant as well.
Yeah.
So I'm measuring with infrared.
Yeah, because the goal with storing your green consistently is more than anything, you want it to be consistently going into your roaster at a consistent temperature. But obviously our challenge is winter. So obviously it can get really cold, then your green is going to be cold accordingly. How do you guys find winter with the air conditioning? Does it affect it because it's all consistent? Yep.
Yeah, so
Sorry, yeah. Yep, sorry.
We're in a like pretty unique position where we're roasting inside a restaurant as well.
Yep.
So there's air conditioners blasting all the time.
Okay.
So yeah, roasting is really consistent.
Yeah, so you've got that ability, and so your profiles technically shouldn't be so seasonal as a lot of us that are more open.
Yeah, like we found a couple of weeks ago, sometimes when it's drier,
Yep.
the temperature is pretty consistent, but
Mhm.
general humidity or relative humidity is
Yep.
kind of a factor for us.
Yes. On that point, what roaster you want again? Yep. So what I've found with humidity in particular, with more of your atmospheric burner roasters, they will struggle in high humidity. So it's really confusing. When you're in super hot temperatures, you've got a truckload of humidity and you're having to raise your starting temperature because your burners are struggling to burn through the moisture in the air, so that you just can't get any heat to the drum. So I've got quite a lot of roasters up in Cairns. In the wet season, it's really hard for them because they're trying to get as much energy into their drums as possible because they've basically got 100% humidity most of the time in wet season, and it's really hard for them trying to get heat into the drum. No, the burners are trying to burn through the moisture in the air before they can transfer heat into the drum. And it's really confusing because you're going, it's really hot, it's really humid. Why am I starting with a hotter temperature? It's almost like roasting in winter, but yeah, but weird. It's really interesting. Yeah. On that green would have been through the roof. Yeah, and then they're all going off. Yep.
What would cause a roast to actually smell bad? The green smelled fine, there was no mould in the bag.
Yep.
But once roasted,
Yep.
you actually smelled really rancid, it smelled wrong, it
Yep.
smelled off, it tasted even worse.
Okay, and it wasn't necessarily like a roast level, like it wasn't really dark. No, because we know, like when you smell like a really, really dark, you know, Italian, French roasted kind of coffee, and it has
I
that.
used to work for another coffee company, they
Yep.
roasted really light.
Yes.
But during the roasting process,
Yep.
it smelled like there was a big, mouldy, rotten smell. to
Yep.
it.
So I would.
There was nothing in the green, there was nothing in the grain pro, there was nothing on the bag itself.
Okay.
It just, it happened also in Melbourne.
Yep.
They got a random bag that actually smelled and
Yep.
tasted really rancid.
I mean, honestly, I would start pinpointing the green if there was like an issue with the green.
It matched to every other origin. Moisture was great.
But defect-wise, like what was the smell like? Was it like a phenolic chemical kind of smell?
Like normal green coffee.
Okay.
So there was no actual signs
Yep.
that it was bad.
Yep.
We were actually not doing a defect count, everything
Yep.
across
Yep.
above board.
Yep.
Screen size was great.
Yep.
But the whole roast, it actually stuck out the whole roast.
What kind of smell was it?
Quite a lot of moldy smell actually.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And was it, didn't happen to be like a Brazil?
More of an Ethiopian.
Oh, okay. So then, was it a natural process, Ethiopian? Because that would, yeah. So it, yeah, exactly. So it could
It
work.
was washed coffee, so.
Oh, that's really odd. Wow.
Could be an
But
internal.
no, that it's not happened again.
Yeah.
As far as my knowledge goes,
Yeah.
But it's both happened in Perth and in Melbourne.
Yep. Yep.
Same company.
From the
Both-
same coffee.
Same coffee,
Yeah.
same, and no one could actually know that throughout 6 kilos.
And could you taste it?
You can taste it afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
it smelled bad. It tasted
yeah, in all honesty, that generally does just come back to me as being like a green defect issue. So things like phenol is one of those defects that you don't know are there until you actually like roast and taste the coffee. And it's not consistent throughout the batch as well. It will just come through. It's a bit of a ghost kind of defect. And it won't be in all of the coffee. It will be in like certain sections. The reason why I asked about Brazil is because I guess the kind of like sister matching defect to that is called Rioe, and it's intensely metallic and it's intensely, gross. Basically, it's not lovely. But if it's a washed Ethiopian, that's very unusual that it had that. And if it did have that, it's quite possibly something happened in the process. So whether the washing process when it's rushed. That can also influence those defects to start showing themselves as well. So did you have an opportunity to work with the traders that you got the coffee from? Yeah, because it would have been really great to sort of work with them and go from there to try and, find out.
now that they were.
Yep.
But at that stage, we still through the party.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I guess more intrigued about the cupping protocol that you use post-roast.
Yes.
In terms of,
Yes.
time frames post-roast.
Yep.
How you're comparing roasts, or you're roasting the same bean, two separate roasts.
Yep.
How are you comparing and what particular points you're looking for?
Yep.
If you've got 50 kilos of the same bean from 5 different roasts.
Yep.
What decision-making process do you follow to then go, well, do I blend these all together and sell it as a single lot, or am I actually doing that?
Yeah. So the question was about cupping protocol, and pretty much in the lines of, so when you've got multiple batches of the same coffee, or not necessarily, or...
Batches as an example. But
Yeah.
What protocol do you follow
Yep.
to make sure that the coffee you're roasting is actually getting to your customers in good condition?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is really important that we give ourselves the time and opportunity to cup and taste our coffee. Because more than anything, we are in the business of flavour. That's what we're all here for. So if you're not taking the time to taste your own coffee, you're in a little bit of trouble. So you do need to give yourself then the chance to taste your coffee, collect the appropriate data, and then obviously, what do you know, how do you know what to do with that information? So generally what I would do is, let's say I had multiple batches of the same coffee. I generally would blend them together before sending them out. I wouldn't send them out as a separate lot because you want to take advantage of all of those roasts blended together because they're going to create a really nice amount of complexity, especially if it is a single origin. Yep.
We've got something that we can't do the hassle, so we actually have to keep each batch separate for the coating.
Okay. So you can't blend your batches. Is that?
We were started to move.
Yep.
Hassle.
And which certificate is that for organic or for
No,
just
general hassle.
in general?
A recall
Really?
procedure, isn't it? So
Yeah.
if someone has
So
a
you can
problem,
backtrack.
recall it. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's a bugger. Because as you know, like one roast might go just a little bit, you know, shorter. One might go just a little bit longer. You might nail one. You've got to give yourself a little bit of variance. You can't, obviously if you're like way off track, then you're in trouble. But if you give yourself a little bit of variance, because there's nothing worse, you'll just stress yourself out. You've got to give yourself a bit of range to work with. So, but I would definitely still cup them separately. I would always make sure that I always have a roast log sheet of all of my roasts with all of the key events marked. So first crack time, end time, development ratio, weight loss, stretch degrees, all of that information together. So then I can see the pattern of what's going on from roast to roast. And then as I'm like, tasting those separate roasts, if there's one that you really like, then you can have a look at that pattern and see what's going on, and you can like keep an eye on that. As far as like sampling, I find with production roast, depending on how many you need to cup and taste, I'm comfortable with 1 bowl. Some people prefer to do 2 bowls for their production. I think doing 3 and more is getting a little bit too much for your general production cuppings. But definitely if you want to do like a protocol purchasing cupping, you do need to do the minimum 5 bowls for that coffee to show itself. I would always wait generally like till the next day before cupping. But I'm sure we've all been in that position where you've had to cup a coffee straight away, like straight out of the roaster, because you want to know what's gone on. You might have slightly missed something and you want to really double check it before it goes out to the customers. Yep.
What's the oldest you've cupped a coffee at?
No more than a day. Yep, at the absolute most. Yep. Because you do want to catch it while it still has that key amount of vibrancy in there, but it's also degassed just enough for you to start tasting. So then, as far as like protocols, not so much in like how many grams and all that kind of stuff, and no, not that, but just like the managing it. Yep, cool. So then I would then go through my cupping. I would have my roast log next to me, and then as I approve, so to speak, if a coffee has hit the mark, I would then mark that profile on my roast log, and then just have a look at the parameters that are connected to that roast profile, and just see how it's going in line with what has been marked to follow. And then, as far as like assessment on the table, do you mean in what else were you wanting to know with?
We're looking at, as we've been saying, we've got 3 different roasting things. We're looking
Yep.
at ways we can better streamline our cupping process,
Yep.
but also the communication between teams.
Yes.
But
What?
just, you know, things that
What format do most people use when you're cupping production? Do you have your own production cupping sheet that you use? What
We've been going off
forms?
SCAA.
Sorry?
We've been going off SCAA.
Okay, yep. What do you guys use?
Good on it.
Yep. And is that in terms of, are you looking for key things in your cupping?
Yeah, so we assess it on sweetness, acidity, and clarity.
Yep.
We detract points for any roast defects,
Yep.
or bake, under, or over.
Yep.
Overall cupping impression is score 100.
Yep.
And if that's better than the reference profile,
Yep.
if the score ends up better than the reference profile, it becomes up to the profile.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, having like your own internal kind of score. Using SCAA is a little bit kind of too intense for production. Definitely use SCAA for purchasing and evaluation and those kinds of decisions. What I do recommend is coming up with a very streamlined cupping sheet that allows you to move through a good range of samples and focusing on intensity. So I use a score sheet that does the whole sweetness, acidity, body, clean cup, overall and balance, but it's just low, medium, high. And then all you've got to do is, as you go around and assess the coffees, does it have an aroma? Does it have low aroma, medium, or high? And then knowing what you want to achieve out of that particular coffee, if it doesn't hit the mark on certain elements, then of course you know you need to go back and assess. So then you can then have a comment section on the quality. Does it meet the quality that you're after? But for me, production is very much assessing intensity of certain elements, because whether you've roasted it as a filter or espresso, you're going to be looking for certain things on the table.